Hi guys, I'm Zach. I'm with Rescue Inc. I'm an EMT. I've been an EMT for almost a couple of years now. This is one of our ambulances. What got me into EMS is I started working in a hospital, and I got to watch all the EMTs coming in and out of the door, and I thought, wow, that's such a cool thing to do. I want to be able to do that, so I went and I got my my license to practice medicine in that way. So EMT stands for Emergency Medical Technician, and we kind of just run around town when people call 911 and they get hurt or they're really sick and they need to go to the hospital, and we treat them before they go to the hospital. All right, so this is the inside of our ambulance. This is where we bring our patients. You know, when somebody calls 911, we put them on this bed that we call a stretcher. Now on this stretcher we have a few pieces of equipment. This one right here is very important. This is our monitor. This is what tells us everything about you. It tells us how your heart's doing. It tells us how your blood pressure is. It tells us how you're breathing. It even tells us how much oxygen saturation your body is getting. The cool thing about this is if you know, somebody's heart stops, we can restart it again, hopefully, and bring them to the hospital really fast. Another piece of equipment that we have on here is oxygen. Oxygen is very vital to life. You need it to breathe. In the normal air that we breathe every day, it's about 78% nitrogen, 2% other small little gases, and the rest is all oxygen. We have so many different things on the ambulance to help you breathe better. We have medications. We have different appliances like masks. We have, this is like it's like a vacuum. If somebody has a lot of like stuff going on inside their mouths, we can get all that out of there using this, what we call a suction. We have a radio back here so we can communicate with the hospital when we need to. We have all kinds of other devices that are vital for saving lives. Alright, so this is the inside of the this is called the cab. So this is where one of us is driving the ambulance, obviously, and this is where we have control of all of our different switches, from lights, our siren, our radio. We can change stations on here to talk to different dispatchers and talk to different hospitals. There's a call coming in right now. So a cool story about me is I also used to go to Oak Grove School when I was younger. I actually graduated from Oak Grove School in 1998, I think. So I brought a really cool book for you guys today. I'm going to read it to you. So it's kind of just about ambulances and what we do. So here we go. Sometimes people need help. They might be hurt or they might be lost. When people need first aid, an ambulance might come to help them. An ambulance is an emergency vehicle. It is used to take people who are hurt or sick to the hospital. Ambulances can go very fast. So you guys see the pictures of the ambulances going really quick? The first ambulances were used about 200 years ago. They were carts pulled by horses. Later, big cars were used. So you guys can see the cart right there. And you can also see the old cars. It looks like an old Ghostbuster car. That's kind of what they used to use for ambulances a long time ago. Today's ambulances look like boxy trucks. Ambulances have flashing lights and loud sirens. The lights and sirens warn other drivers to move out of the way. See? Ambulances carry first aid supplies. They have a special bed on wheels called a stretcher. They have bandages, blankets, and medicines. Ambulances have medicines to help people breathe, too. So this is a little first aid kit. Ambulance. When there's an emergency, a dispatcher calls for an ambulance, and the ambulance works. The ambulance workers jump into action. The workers are called emergency medical technicians, or EMTs. One person drives the ambulance. Another EMT sits in the driver's seat. If there are more EMTs, then they sit in the back. So this is a dispatcher getting ready to tone us. We have a special tone that is specific to our department, so we know when we hear it, we have to go somewhere. When the ambulance gets to the emergency, the EMTs rush to help whoever is hurt or sick. They use the ambulance as first aid supplies and bandage cuts. They give air to people who are having trouble breathing. See, a lot of people out on the street. Looks like a pretty scary scene there. The EMTs put a patient who is not able to walk on the stretcher. They wheel it back to the back of the ambulance. The ambulance speeds to the hospital. The EMTs take care of the patient on the way to the hospital. You can see the patient there who's on what we call a stretcher. And they're getting ready to load her into the ambulance so they can bring her to the hospital really fast. When the ambulance gets to the hospital, doctors and nurses take care of the patient. The EMTs drive the ambulance back to its base. The base might be at the hospital or at a fire or police station. The EMTs clean the ambulance and check the supplies to make sure everything is ready to go for the next emergency. You can see the EMT is telling the doctor here and the nurse kind of what happened to the patient out on the scene, so that way the doctors and the nurses know exactly what they need to do to help take care of them. The horse-drawn ambulances were used in the 1800s. Carts or wagons found armies of soldiers during wars. They carried soldiers who were hurt to hospitals. In the 1900s, new vehicles called cars were used as ambulances. After a while, these ambulances were used to carry hurt or sick people in cities and towns too. Look at that really old ambulance. It even says ambulance on the car. So that's the end. Thanks for listening to me, guys. I hope you guys have a great day.